is the Organic Truth Podcast. Let's go. Welcome back, people. Welcome back. And it's 12 days into the new year. 2020 for me has passed so fast. It's like it was a blur because when you looked up, for me, when I looked up, it was like, whoa, we're at Halloween, then we're at Christmas. I'm sorry. We're at Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. It came so fast. It was like, where the heck did the time go? But see, maybe because that was me slacking on my Mac. But I promise you, I'm going to get it together this year. And that ain't no New Year's resolution because I think for me, I let that go. I don't want to do resolutions. I want to build on things that I felt like I was going to be doing positive throughout the year of 2020 and those that I really focused on toward the end. So I want to continue that trend of building, whether that's on my wellness, on my health, or just building skill sets. I don't want to do the New Year's resolution because I feel like when you do that, you only setting yourself up for the biggest failure because, and this is just my opinion, please, my people, don't quote me on this. This is just my opinion, and that's just my disclaimer I'm throwing out there because I feel like when you put that New Year's resolution on your back, it's so much pressure for you to stay with it. So soon as you slip or you, like my gospel folks say, backslide, you start to feel guilty because it's like you putting all this pressure on yourself instead of just saying, okay, how can I build on little bits and pieces of change, especially if you set in your ways. If you older up in age and you used to doing things a certain type of way, it could be a bit daunting for you to be able to change certain things. So it's like you have to remember that, number one, you can make mistakes. You're a human being. Number two, mistakes can be recorrected. And number three, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be, please. But that's just my intro for the new year. We're 12 days in. I sure hope that everybody out there that does have it, because I'm not knocking New Year's resolutions. If you got a New Year's resolution, I hope that you hold on to it. And I really want you to win. Because that might work for you. You see what I'm saying? Your reality might not be the reality for somebody else. So what works for you may not work for them, but what don't work for them might work for you. So it works. And I hope and pray that it is. Because I want you to win and I want to see you successful. Because at the end of the day, I want people when they look at me and they saying good, I want them to say good things about me. I want them to root for me. I want them to understand and know that, hey, I want that young man or that brother to be able to do the right thing and be able to follow whatever he's trying to do into completion. But let's get into it. Today's topic for me is called graduation. Graduation. You might ask, what is Living talking about graduation? What am I talking about? Good question if you ask that. But if you didn't, it's okay. But first and foremost, let me get this out the way. Organic Truth Podcast is a podcast for the people. I do this for myself because these are my thoughts and feelings and these are only my theories, but that I am allowing to share with all of you who listen. I don't care if it's one. I don't care if it's a half of one. I don't care if it's 5. I appreciate y'all. 4, just keep locking in. 20, 30, keep locking in because there's some special things happening. And I promise you in this podcast, when you listen, everything that I speak and I project, I'm going to project great things into you. Promise you that. That's one thing that I feel like in my life that's fulfilling is when I speak to people. I need to do this. Because when I speak to people and I speak certain things, they come to fruition. They come. And sometimes, not the drift or anything, but I feel like the spirit is moving me. I need to say this. Sometimes I do certain things to where I uplift people past me because I'm so caught in that moment to where I see the light in them. You understand what I'm saying? To where instead of propelling myself, the energy and the light that's shining off of that individual or those people, I uplift them. because I want to see everybody win. Because I know my wins is going to come by me using my gifts. And that's being able to see the light and speak truth organically into people. Yes, sir. So 2024, we're 12 days in. This is actually my first podcast into the new year, and it's 12 days in. Listen, I wanted to be able to set myself up to where now it's like we're in this age to where people want to see the digital content. So I'm creating and I'm still working it out. I'm still ironing out the kinks. This is still, even though I've been doing this, even though I've been doing this for almost probably 2.5 years going on 3, I'm still in learn mode. I have moments to where I get distracted and I had to put this down. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to focus on my personal life. So you're getting raw thought conversation from an everyday individual. I just like to talk. That's it. I just like to talk. And I got some special things going on in my life. And I got some troubling. When I say, I don't want to use the word troubling. I have some frustrating things going on in my life that in my podcast, I will share with my people. I just need y'all to engage back. You see what I'm saying? And with that being said, it's like, listen, I'm sorry. I hope y'all, my bad. I'm on phone, but I hope y'all following me on my TikTok. You know what I'm saying? At living_king. That's LIVIN_KING. That's it. I hope y'all follow me on that. And then follow me on my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Send me some DMs or some messages, man. I want to talk to people. I want to hear what y'all got to say, even if y'all trolling. Listen, the trolls is the best. I love the trolls because for the simple fact that the trolls are the ones that's going through the things that I've been through. So we could talk about it. But follow your boy on Instagram at Mr_Living247. That's MR_. Now that we got that out the way, we're going to get to the positive stuff. Please cover the ears of the kids. If you're listening in the car or at home, we're going to get to the bullshit. What's the positive stuff? People ask, Living. Well, the positive stuff is, what are you going to accomplish this year? What are you going to change? What are you going to resist? What are you going to clean up in your life? And it don't necessarily have to be your life. What are you going to clean up in your space? Because see, most people think that we got to go into this whole life like transition to where we have to totally turn everything upside down. And we don't have to do that. A lot of times, it's sometimes just that piece and that piece. And once we change that or remove that, our whole lives change in the trajectory. Work with me. In the trajectory that we want it to be. But it's definitely harder for others, easier for most. You understand me? You know, let me give you a personal example. I used to find myself constantly scrolling. Right? Just sucking in certain information, and then I get distracted with certain content. And then I look up and I stop and I be like, what was I about to do? What was I looking for? And can't remember. But see, that's the crazy thing about the whole content thing and the whole social media thing, because it's like, it's so easy to get distracted from your common goal and for you to lose sight of your purpose, because everybody seems like they winning on social media. Right? Everybody. But the most successful person on social media is one who lived a truth. That's why we see, shout out to him though, Keith Lee. That's why we see people like Keith Lee just winning now. I mean, he's been winning, but it's like he really like seeing his stardom like blow up to a whole nother level. I don't know if you guys know who Keith Lee is. And for those who is listening on the radio or in the car or wherever you listen to your podcast, and you don't know who Keith Lee is, he's what would we call him? Would he be a food critic? But it's so wild how we could live in an era to where we could say a person who just put a camera on, bought some food, start talking about it, and just did it multiple times over, and people just start following him and liking him. But when I went back to his page and I started looking at his page, what he did was he unveiled himself, because he used to be a UFC fighter. I didn't know that. But it's crazy because as I start diving deeper into that, his brother, which is, I can't remember his first name, but I remember seeing him fight. He was a professional fighter first in the UFC. I remember he fought against some kind of a big UFC fighter in pay-per-view. But that's how quick you could become something that for years before we've been in this age to where we thought that you had to go to schools for that to be, you had to go to school for, what is it? Come on, man. Y'all help me out because sometimes I be getting stuck. You had to go to school to be a journalist, to be a food critic, because you got to write editorials and all of that stuff. Nowadays, you don't have to be that. This dude's a UFC fighter. He had a lot of stuff going on in his life. At one point, he was about to kill himself. If you go watch his story, it is very, very inspirational. But see, that's what we love. We love a good story. And we love that when we do fact checking, we find out that it's real. And the first thing that I saw when I went back to look at his old channels before he became all big and start looking at all his newer content, I saw that, sometimes he just had the camera going. Kitchen was messy in the back. Kids running around with diapers, him just on there being transparent, talking about how he didn't have enough money for this or the rent or whatever. Those are the moments. See, we sit and we look at that because a lot of people can resonate with that. A lot of people can resonate with losing because I know I can. I've lost and I've gained. So I can resonate with losing. But I seen in him like, whoa, he really is unveiling himself. He's really living his truth. And it's all organic. No point intended, no double entendre there. It was all natural. And over time, he started acquiring people who can relate to his situation. And then as he started building that fan base, he started to change some of his content. And now he's starting to bring in people who could relate to that level of content. And it just started trickling. But it all began with him unveiling and living his truth. Because once you live that, nobody can use anything against you. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Nobody can use it against you because you live in it. You live in it. And that's why I say that to say this for him. Shout out to Keith Lee. He deserves everything that he got. I've seen some of the newer content where now all of a sudden he's going on to different cities and states. And once the restaurant community find out he's there doing reviews, they all want him to come. And I'm trying to figure out, because I'm not traveling like him and I only see what I see on social media or TV. So I ask myself, is this real? Is this real? Is he really like changing restaurants' lives? Like by just going to review the stuff and then the next day or the next 2 days, the line is like all the way into the streets from the door. That's wild. What type of pool is that, man? What type of pool is that? Now I'm about to go into the BS. Answer that. Riddle me that. Batman. If there's a Batman or a Batwoman, riddle me that. How does that happen? See, because I had to look at both perspectives. Now, I'm not negating his come up. I love his come up. I support his movement. And I think I don't know him personally, but from what I could base off of social media and some of the things he say, he sounds like he's a good family man and he loves his wife and there ain't no cheating allegations came out. So we don't know. He's a good man right now. Innocent until proven guilty in this world we live in. So shout out to him. Shout out to his wife, family. You know what I'm saying? They doing their thing. But I had to ask, what type of pool is that? Like, is that real? Like if I have a certain type of influence, say for instance, I like the gyms. So I'm going around rating all the gyms in different cities and I'm going to the ones who ain't getting enough people in the gym. And then as soon as I rate the gym, all my million followers, not all of them, but maybe a third who like the gym show up at the gym. Is that a real thing? Or man, is there something else going on? Because some of this content I've been seeing where he was in Atlanta and he was doing food reviews for these restaurants that was on a lifeline. And then the next day he go back, from door all the way wrapped around the building with a line. No way, man. Come on, man. Don't talk me to death. I don't know. Because I ain't out there. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I watch a lot of food content. not a lot of food content, but I do come across some pretty cool food content, in my area, and best believe that I be saving it, sending it to my significant other, and I be like, man, we got to go try this out. So I can understand that, but it ain't gonna make me see the video and then the next day I'm going there in line because I just gotta go there because Keith Lee said he rated it 9 out of 10. No, don't even give me a rating. Just show me the food. And Mr. Chime Time, he do the same thing. But it's crazy. I had to ask myself, well, he's probably just as big, but maybe Keith Lee is probably bigger. Because I ain't seeing Mr. Chime Time. And people going to ask me, who is Mr. Chime Time? He's another food critic, right? Who does food reviews in his car. Well, obviously, Keith Lee does food reviews in his car, but he also does it in the house. I ain't never seen Mr. Chime Time do anything like a house setting, right? So he does food reviews, and he's done a couple celebrity reviews where they do reviews together of the food in the car. And while they're eating and doing the reviews on the food, he's interviewing them. But Keith Lee a video with Mr. Beast. I ain't seen Chime Time doing no video with Mr. Beast. And that right there tells me that they in two different tax brackets. No disrespect, right? No disrespect. But see, that brings me right back to where when I look at both of their channels, I never see Mr. Chime Time give a rating on the food and then people rush there and showing you the video of the line of it being there. Only with Keith Lee. So I don't know if he got a different type of setup, but man, for me, it's questionable. And I say that in the most respectful way. It's just like what it is or what isn't it. So, but that would be my bullish, but I support him. And I say that because I support him, but I don't know why the spirit was leading me to him, because it was much more for me to talk about than a food critic. But I think it led me because of his story. And the reason why I say that because today's title is about graduation. And what he did was he graduated from all the personal rhetoric. And when you go back and you watch his story, it is inspiring. He graduated from all the rhetoric, that he felt in his life, where his dad always made him feel like a fuck, or he felt like he was and he couldn't do nothing right, and all the bad decisions he made. He graduated from that, from about to commit suicide. And anybody listening to this who has any type of suicidal thoughts, please seek help. Understand that we want you here. But he was on the verge of that, but he graduated through that, through his emotions. And once he did that, he started to see the benefits of him changing his life, not only for himself, but for his wife and his family, his children. He graduated from his own bullshit, from his own. Even when it was hard, he was on the verge of quitting. Not just saying, I quit. Understand what I mean by I say quitting. And I'm not saying that to glorify that. But he was on the verge of quitting. But God wasn't through with him yet. Just like anybody out there listening to this podcast, your God is not through with you yet, whatever that may be. But it can't be something that destroy you, because his story did not allow him to destroy him. He graduated from his own bullshit, and that lifted him up to put himself in a position to where he could be successful enough and beyonder to bless not only himself and his family, but to bless other people abroad. He graduated. So all of the stuff that he allowed at that moment, at that level of his life to soak up in him, he overcame that. He graduated through that so that he could be above the stars. And he is. Because if you look at his life and you look at it now, the guy's on the red carpet, BET, meeting all the celebrities, anybody. And it ain't even about that, but he's touching the lives of not just people who we deem or may deem as upper echelon. He's blessing people, the real echelon, the real upper echelon of folks. And that's the common everyday people who go through the same struggles as people who we see and deem them as celebrity. Wake up. So shout out to Keith Lee for graduating, because he's showing us all, and we all need to listen. Let's give him a round of applause. Shout out to Keith Lee, man. And real quick, for me, I graduated and I'm graduating for all the negativity, from all the BS, from all the naysay, for all the non-believers, from all the people who secretly whisper behind my back, talking about things that they know nothing about. For all the people who are close to me who don't uplift me but always try to drag me down. I'm graduating from all the people who are a liability and not an asset in my life. I'm graduating from all the people who want to spew rhetoric from what they heard from somebody that they don't even know that long, rather than coming to speak to me directly, getting the resource or the source from the mane in the horse's mouth. I'm graduating from you, because if that's you, you need to graduate too. And just remember that, because it don't exempt you from the things that you say. And when you mess and you deal with God's people, those who are truly anointed, you better be careful what you say, because you reap what you sow. And sometimes what you sow, you think because your life is going good at that particular moment, it's only an illusion, because your world is crumbling and it's in shambles. But as soon as you hit that certain mark, you're going to see all the smoke and mirrors dissolve, and you're going to see yourself for who you really are. So be careful, be careful. But to my people, my organic people, I say that to say this: without a voice, there's no truth. Without truth, there's no voice. Organic Truth Podcast. And make sure you always allow your plan A, B to enforce plan A. And that would never steer you wrong. Blessings to the people. Organic Truth Podcast. Let's go. We out.